Hello everybody and welcome to a Sheepish Look at Extinction. My name is MrWoodenSheep and today we're looking at a game that might remind you of Attack on Titan. And that comes from the main premise, which is to fend off giants that are attacking the city, to the zip line that you can use to kind of dash around through trees, or the just general aesthetic of the city. And that's not necessarily a bad thing if the game does some original things. And while the game is definitely fun to play, it runs into some major problems that I will get into more detail throughout the video. Alright, so although this orc is ravaging my city right now, they're called Raveni in the game, but just for simplicity's sake, I'm gonna call them orcs, because that's what they look like, okay? So the game basically revolves around the same three mechanics throughout the whole time. So you either kill orcs, like the small orcs, you either save civilians, or you kill giant orcs. And that's basically the entire game. And that's the main problem with it, because actually the combat is quite fun and relatively intuitive. You've got some nice combos that you can kind of go through. You've got a nice skill tree that you can upgrade. So you can see here, it's all done through one button press, but depending on if you wait a certain amount of time before pressing it again, or if you hold the button, then you'll kind of do different combos. You can also jump into this air and do different attacks like that. It's actually... It feels pretty cool, pretty satisfying. And you can wall run around like this, you can dash, you can glide through the air, you can zip to trees, you can zip to the tops of buildings, you can zip on the back of these giant orcs actually. Boom, like that. So it's actually quite satisfying. And so the way you kill these giant guys is you have to hold a certain button that allows you to go into the slow-mo mode, and then you kind of just strike at their armor. Once their armor has been struck, their limbs are vulnerable, and you can cut them up like this. And it feels very cool and badass, and the game does actually get quite hard later on by adding different types of armor types. So you can kind of, for example, get a padlock on the armor. So you have to hit the padlock specifically twice, and then it'll make the armor vulnerable, and then it'll make the limb vulnerable. Their limbs do grow back, by the way, so you do need to kind of work quickly to kill them. And
I must find cover to regain my health.
Alright, dude. So I'm gonna break off his helmet, which should reveal his neck. Unfortunately, I have not built up my kill meter yet. So I'm gonna need to kind of pointlessly slash at his limbs. There you go. That's kind of another problem I have. I mean, I guess it stops you from just climbing onto their back and instantly killing them. But sometimes it feels like I'm kind of just cutting them up a little bit too much. Oh my god, he just smashed me like a mosquito. So every level will start off with a bit of dialogue and end off with a bit of dialogue. That's kind of how they get through some story to you. Unfortunately, people will also nag you about all sorts of annoying stuff throughout the match. For example, if you'll die, or if you let some civilians die, they'll just kind of nag to you, kind of, oh, why are you, what are you doing, man? And I mean, can you see what I'm dealing with here? So you can see in the top right corner, it says 30% at the moment. That's the health of the city, basically. And as civilians die, as buildings die, that will get reduced. So your other objective is to try and save civilians, right? You have to save them from these smaller orcs. That the civilians kind of just gather around these crystals that you can use to teleport them to safety. And these orcs will just try their absolute damnedest to try and kill all the civilians that are remaining. Which can be quite frustrating, because I was talking about the difficulty increase earlier on. This is when it gets a little bit too difficult at times. Some levels... Okay, this civilian completely died, great. Some levels will just throw huge mobs of orcs at you, and basically there's multiple civilians in different locations, so you can't be everywhere at once. So civilians are just dying left and right, because you can't protect them all, and you don't do enough damage at times. Your combos don't really make it possible to kind of just slash at a million orcs at once. I mean, look, you can see here, I'm gonna do a wide attack. There you go. This kind of stuff, it's widespread, but it won't go all the way around the crystal that you saw, so yeah. But yeah, basically you've seen the three main mechanics in the game, and that is how the game is the entire fucking time. I'm on the second chapter right now, and I've also read other people who have gone through the whole thing, and it does not change. It really, and that's kind of a huge problem with the game, because while the main mechanics are fun and the skill tree kind of keeps it a little bit exciting, doing the same thing over and over again with a few minor changes to armor on the Raveni and stuff like that, it's not enough change in my opinion, and the story doesn't exactly keep me captivated to kind of keep going through. Which is a shame, because I do really like everything else about it. The aesthetic is nice, everything feels solid, but just repetition, over repetition in any game is just becomes tedious at some point. So the game is kind of built for completionists, there are a lot of bonus missions, so bonus quests, so like, oh, destroy this amount of armor before you kill a Reveni, or save this many civilians. So if you're really into that kind of stuff, you can kind of go back and try and master levels. And there are also ways to generate a random mission and then actually give the seed to your friends so that you can compete and try to get a higher score. But I don't see many people doing that because, again, the game is just quite repetitive. I mean, this guy, I'm just trying to build up enough energy now to kill him. I've sliced off all of his limbs about 5 times. There you go, now he killed me right when I built up the energy. Again, to the game's credit, you can see, like, the landscape has been completely flattened, which is very cool to see because you might be on a building sometimes and an orb will just kind of smash it down. And it does add a little bit of interesting, just kind of variety to the combat, but it still gets stale quite quickly because all the levels are the same. Alright, can we save? Can we beat the level with just 1% of... Oh god, I'm pretty sure if he destroys that building right there, I'm screwed. I've got to try to keep him away from it. Oh, dude. Wash your feet. Maybe at least once a year. That'd be good. So when you die, you do come back. I think with no penalty at all, actually, apart from just you've wasted time that you could be using to protect the city. Which is nice. They could have easily made it an insta-fail and you have to do everything again. But the game is frustrating enough already with its difficulty sometimes, so I'm glad they didn't go that route. Come on, dude. Let me just finish this off. He's so close to the last building.
For the base of the neck.
Alright, and now you can get an example of the voice acting and dialogue as well. That was a really close mission.
While Sandra is in your care, I hold you responsible for her safety.
I understand she means much to you.
Her wisdom cuts as sharp as my blade. This war will not be won by force alone. We will need her contributions to survive.
So there you go. The voice acting I think is fine, and the writing is fine, but I think it's the way that the story is presented kind of doesn't make it that interesting. Because, I mean, it's just random snippets of story at the beginning and end of every single mission. And for the most part, it's just been like a little bit of battle talk in the sense that, oh, you need to defend this city, please. Or, oh, I need your help to do this. And then they don't really progress in any meaningful way. Alright, so you can see once you're actually done with the mission, you can actually upgrade your skills. Which is, it's actually been an interesting skill tree so far. You can just kind of upgrade the amount that you jump, the amount you damage. Radar distance. You can also get new moves, you can see here. So I'm playing with a controller, that's why you can see X there, but you can also easily change it to keyboard and mouse controls. Those are rebindable, by the way. And so far the PC options have been, I've been totally happy with them. The game is running really good, so that's great. And yeah, that's kind of all I have to show because there really isn't anything else to show. I mean, this is gonna be a short video, but you've pretty much gotten the gist of it. It's, again, it's fun. I do enjoy the gameplay, but after a while, I've kind of had enough of it. I'm probably not gonna play much more. And yeah, it's a shame because the aesthetic is great, the combat feels good, but it's just a little bit boring now. And that's without mentioning the price tag, which is the price of a full AAA game, 60 euros, $60, whatever. That's really insane. I mean, I don't know, maybe they were planning to really have a full-fledged AAA game here and they just kept the old price tag, but they should absolutely lower it. If you kind of like the look of the game, I would recommend maybe picking it up at like $15 or euros. Not more than that, definitely not. But yeah, that's everything I have to say. Thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to like and share the video if you enjoyed it or thought it was useful. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye, I love you!